You know, I have to say, this is an amazing new coating that you guys put on. You know, it's the removable, you use green fluorescent tape to keep it on. But is it water repellent?
It's a drop cloth protector.
Is that what this is called? Hey, everybody out there in Dr. B land, let's put it that way. We are back once again. Sorry, I was not here last week. I was out of town. Mike did a good job by himself. Give him a hand. He did good.
Yeah.
But we are back once again, and we are talking black pads, black rags. What are we doing today?
Aluminum polishing.
Ooh, all right. I'm glad I'm on that side of the camera, not this side of the camera.
Yeah.
But like always, please be sure to like, follow, and share if you haven't. Click all those little doodads to get notified, and also, sorry, it lets us know that you really do care.
Yeah.
So, is there any announcements that you have? Don't you have a class coming up?
I got a class coming up. I'll talk about that towards the end of the video. But yeah, it's November 10th, 11th, and 12th. And we'll have another big boat just like this in here. Only this time it's going to be dark blue, but it's turned white with oxidation.
Okay, that's it for the video. He said he wasn't going to do it till the end, so I guess we're done.
Yeah, well, I'll talk more. I'll elaborate.
Yeah, all right, he's going to elaborate. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to send this back over to Mike. He's got a lot of stuff, and like I said, I am glad that I'm on this side, and don't forget about your tip.
Yeah. So I want to start out first with the tip. Yancy took away all my fun, but my tip is in this shop, just like a lot of shops, you have what are called high bay lights. These are high bay LED lights. They're very bright. And if you don't pay attention, they put a lot of stress on your eyes. And think about it. Like, are you a baseball fan, Yancy?
Yeah.
I like to watch baseball. What are the baseball players playing when they're playing a daytime game?
What do they play? They wear a hat.
They wear a hat. Okay, that keeps the sun out of their eyes so it doesn't strain their eyes, but they can see the ball coming at them. Well, one of the things I like to do when I'm working in a shop like this, you don't notice it for like 10, 15 minutes, maybe an hour, but if you're out here working on a boat or a car for a couple of hours, what happens is your eyes are always taking in that light and it puts a strain on them. And so by wearing a baseball style cap, I'd highly recommend the Dr. Beasley's. It's a flex fit. What you do is you're going to block that light from going into the top of your eyes, and it's going to reduce the strain, and now your eyes are they have more power to just focus at the task at hand. Now, Yancy says I look too dark, so I'm going to go ahead and take this off. But if he wasn't here and I was working on this boat, I'd have that baseball cap on. So that's my simple tip. You know, if you're a detailer working in bright lights, put on it, get yourself your favorite baseball cap. Keep that light from shining into your eyes so you can focus on what you're doing.
All right, and what's the bucket for?
Well, a bucket's always important just to have a clean place to put dirty towels. You know, Yancy, I'm glad you asked that. I spend so much time teaching people how to take scratches out of paint or scratches out of gel coat. Last year at Mobile Tech Expo, and I got 4 classes at Mobile Tech Expo this year. I used to teach 8, I cut it down. I'll only give the other guys a chance to get some room time. But last year, there's a guy that at the end of one of my classes, he says, Mike, if you could just share what's the most important thing you could share with somebody when it comes to detailing. And he probably thought it was going to be something about sanding or rotary polishes or compounds or coatings. And I says the most important tip I can share with anybody is have a clean place to put your dirty towels. And also, if you detail for customers, explain to the customers that the most important thing they can do is have a clean place to keep their towels. And the reason why is because, here, let me grab this towel again. The reason why is microfiber, like this one here, it's kind of fluffy. The reason we like it is it excels at pulling things off the surface, a spray detail or a panel wipe, a compound, a polish. Because listen carefully, it adsorbs, absorbs. It adsorbs and absorbs. It wicks onto itself and wicks into itself. But in the same reason it excels on pulling, the different liquid substances off the cars or the boats we're detailing, it excels at holding contaminants into itself. And over time, your towels will tend to get contaminated. And here's one of my quotes. It goes like this. It takes hours to buff out a car. It takes seconds to put a scratch in because there's one little particulate buried into the nap that you don't know about, and you wipe that over the paint. And most of the time, Yancy, when I'm working on people's cars, it's really normal for a car guy or a car girl to have a little stash of microfiber towels in the trunk and a detail bag or behind the seat. and I pull them out and look at them, and they're always contaminated. And here they are bringing me their car to get de-swirled and get the scratches out, and the problem is their towel. So yeah, I like to...
Go to the show and they're like, I don't know why these scratches are here.
Yeah, so it's probably the most important tip I could share with anybody is keep your towels clean. Have a process. So it doesn't matter if it's a box or a laundry basket or a garbage can, but have a clean place to put your dirty towels. And when I say dirty, I mean they're not dirty ground dirty. They're dirty because they got compound on them, that kind of dirty. They go to the washer, they go to the dryer. You got a clean place to fold and inspect them. And then you got a clean cabinet to store them in. It's probably the most important thing anybody can do. So, okay, to the topic, aluminum polishing. First, I kind of want to point out that, one of the tests, I'm a skills validated, certified detailer, skills validated, and RIT, recognized independent trainer for the IDA. And that means I administer or proctor the skills validation test. And in that test, there's a question that goes like this: how can you tell the difference between coated and uncoated or polished aluminum? And what surprises me is probably about half the people I test don't know the answer. Did you know that, Yancy?
I did.
And the answer is really simple. But the way you tell, so if you're going to take that test, I'm giving you the answer. You take a white cloth and you take a aluminum polish and you would walk over to the wheel. In this case, I'm going to walk over to the diamond plate aluminum fender, and you would rub. Then you would turn this over and you see black coming off. And that black is a sign of oxidation, and that means the wheel is uncoated, okay? So a lot of people, they don't know that, because I think it's because there's been so many decades that have gone by that when you buy a new car, it's clear coated or it has hubcaps or plastic caps. But in the old days, a lot of cars, at least custom cars, had slotted mags, some kind of aluminum wheel, and of course we all polished them, and you would know that when you polish it, it turns black. And so anyway, but that's how you tell uncoated from coated. Now, when it comes to this boat, what I like to do with my boat detailing classes, and I've been teaching these since 2012, photo documented, and I like to...
on the internet.
Yeah, so I like to bring in big boats, and here's a couple reasons why. So when people are work on the boat, it's comfortable. I've seen classes where people are all bent over because the side of the hole is this big. I want you guys to have a good experience. So I bring in big boats in horrible condition. This is the first time that I can remember I brought in a white boat. I usually like to bring in dark colored boats and black boats that have turned white with oxidation, because when you restore them, you see the visual impact and the camera catches it too. It's hard to do that with white, but this thing is now glossy. It got here, it was covered in green mold, and I posted pictures all over the internet.
This is what, 30 some odd years old?
This is a 1990, so it's 33 years old.
And obviously this has never been touched in 30 years.
In my opinion, the fenders have never been maintained since this thing was new. Because see, not only do they have oxidation, they've got something worse. They got corrosion, which means pitting. The aluminum's actually disintegrating. And so when it came time to choose this topic, I just kind of thought, here's what I've always done, and Yancy, you know this. I take what I have. So when Victor called me and said, hey, Mike, what's the topic? I thought, well, I have a boat. What can we show with it? We can show how to polish the fenders. And the reason I do this is because in the last, let's see, it'd be going 11 years of teaching hands-on boat detailing classes, what comes natural to me, like how to buff out oxidized diamond plate fenders, doesn't come natural to other people. And so when I show it, a lot of times eyes get wide. They go, oh, I didn't know that's how you do it. Now, when I show you how to do it, if you don't know, you'll go, well, of course, that's how you do it. But you don't know what you don't know. So that's why I'm going to show this. Now, if you guys already know, click away. But if you've never seen how to do this, stay tuned, I'll show you how. And also, kind of, if you're detailing somebody's boat or your own boat, one of the expectations are, if the diamond, and this is very common, diamond plate fenders, very common on boat trailers, and here in South Florida, we got a lot of boats. But it's very common. One of the expectations from the owner is that not only will you detail the boat, but you'll shine up the diamond plate fenders. And dress the tires. Now this is an aluminum trailer. It's got galvanized steel, galvanized wheels. You can't do anything for galvanization. You can wash it, and that's about it. And so it's always kind of ugly. So, the most you can do is make the boat beautiful and make the fenders beautiful, and of course dress the tires. And we're going to take this out when we're done and pressure wash these wheels and tires and then dress them. But anyway, so let me just go ahead and show you how. Now, a lot of people, if they've never polished aluminum, they might, this is a way that the old school people do. You take a towel, this is terry cloth, and you would cut this up, put your polish on here, and then go in and use this elbow grease and rub really hard. And that will get the job done, but you'll probably wear your fingers off. So what I like to show people is, since you're usually already using a rotary polisher, you take a wool pad on a rotary polisher and your polish, and you attack it like a madman. You're going to go up on edge, and you're going to shove these spinning fibers all over the place around these, what they call it diamond clay, because they got little diamond imprints. So when you stand on this, you don't slide off, so it's a safety thing. But it makes it very hard to buff because these things are raised, they're elevated above the surface, and about anything you put down there, it's going to tear it up. So one of the things I recommend is don't buy an expensive wool pad, buy a cheap wool pad. And this is the one I used on the other side. So see how black this turned? And so I'm going to start out with the fresh white, or
From that
to this. Yeah. So it's very dirty. And here's a couple things. One, once you use a wool pad for aluminum, you have just dedicated it for nothing but aluminum. Take my word for it. Never wash this in your pad washer, okay? It will gunk it up. It'll never come clean. And never wash it in your washing machine. If you do, you will be cleaning out your washing machine. And for sure, if you look over here, see all these pads? They've been all washed. They're over here just kind of air drying. See the purple? That's from the 1948 Ford truck. We sanded down and buffed that. That had a single stage urethane paint job. But if you wash this with your other pads, they're all going to look like this. So the reason I know this is because I've had people that have tried to help me by helping me do laundry at my classes, and they throw this pad in the wash machine with the other pads, and everything comes out black. It's,
that would be an oops moment.
The road to buying new pads is paved with good intentions.
Right.
Okay, so let me go ahead and just get started, I guess. So the first thing you always want to do with the rotary, and we teach this in our classes, is you want to center this pad onto that backing plate so that thing spins absolutely concentric, perfect circle. It is so important because if you get this off a little bit, it's like driving a car with a flat tire. It's going to beat you up, and it's going to make holding this and using this a lot more difficult. So spend the time to center that pad. And then, even though I'm buffing aluminum, it's just a good practice to always spur your pad. And that's just to make sure that, maybe this fell on the ground and I don't know about it. Okay, now it's got dirt on it. Okay, so I want to get that dirt off there. So I'm going to spur the pad. And don't be a caveman. Don't be a caveman. I keep caveman tools over here. Here's a caveman tool. Here's one people would recognize. Craftsman screwdriver. Okay, yeah, look, I've used a screwdriver, I've used a monkey wrench, I've used a nail, I've used whatever's next to me to spur a pad. But that's only because I didn't have a spur with me for whatever reason. This will work, okay? But what tends to happen is over time, it'll find a sweet spot and you'll peel all the fibers out of there. I've seen it time and time again. So invest the money, they're like 10 bucks, get a spur. Okay, now, we actually buffed out the other fender, if you want to show them that. We buffed out the other fender in the class, and then I kind of said to the class, hey, if you guys don't mind, let's leave this one so I can shoot this video and show people, one of the things we teach in the class, but also just a skill set and a technique. So if you ever have to buff out a diamond plate fender, especially one this bad, you know what to do. Now to do this, a lot of times people would use an aluminum polish. That is normal. At this time, Dr. Beasley's doesn't make an aluminum polish. Notice I said at this time.
And you're using?
I'm using NSP 150, and the reason why is because I do a lot of cars for this collector, and he had some aluminum mag wheels, and they were oxidized, and I just thought, well, this stuff works so good on paint, I wonder what it would do to aluminum. And I buffed out not only the wheels on his Bronco, but also the wheels on the AMC Pacer we had here a couple weeks ago. And I machine polished them with the wool pad on a rotary, and they polished right up using NSP 150. So that's what I'm going to show. That's what I had. That's what I show. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick this up. Then I'm going to just start buffing it in. And this is gonna take a couple passes to get my pad moisturized. But at some point I'm gonna tilt this thing up on edge and I'm gonna start pushing on it. I'm pushing hard. I would say about 10 pounds, maybe 20 pounds. I'm pushing on this thing. It's hard to tell because these flex polishers, they got a little circuit in them that when you push hard and put a load on the tool, they send it more power to match the power you set on the tool. So there's just a few seconds of polishing. And look at the shine come back. And I didn't wear out my fingers. Also, look at the pad. So that's what I'm saying. It's a dirty job, but you know what? I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put a tape line down here, Yancy. And you know there's a bolt right here because there's a bracket here to support this. So if you're standing on this, getting in and out of the boat.
That interfere? Do you have to
I'm gonna show you how.
Polisher
No, well, if you don't know what you're doing, it can, but I'm gonna show you what I would do. I bought my first rotary polisher in 1988. I actually still have it. It's in the bathroom in a display. It's a Makita.
I know, and you actually wore it where it looked chrome.
I wore it down so the gears no longer meshed together. It had a sandcast aluminum head. I wore the sides of it smooth like chrome. I would come home and be bleeding right here and right here from rubbing against it. And this is before we had long stroke, gear driven. It was before even people used the Porter cables, back in the 80s. So, oh, I am dating myself. Well, one thing that is good about dating yourself is experience. Experience is a great teacher. I mean, try to learn from someone that has experience. The only way you get it is by making mistakes. Okay, so let's come down here and let's start buffing. You know, me and Todd Helm did a project like this one time. It was a 1948 Chevy pickup a guy cut the roof off of. It was a full-time convertible, and he put a complete diamond aluminum bed in it. So the whole bed was aluminum diamond plate, and it was oxidized so bad that me and Todd Helm, we tag teamed it and polished it all out. I think those pictures have long since disappeared, but that was a lot of fun. Okay, I'm going to run right down here to the tape line. So one of the things I'm doing around this bolt,
it's coming over here.
let me add just a little more product there, is I'm going to go up on edge and just kind of move right around it. So, watch your camera lens there. Okay, so look, I'm way up on edge. I'm just coming around, coming back this way. I'm pushing. This is why you don't want to use an expensive pad. You know, there was a part of me that didn't want to do this demonstration because this aluminum is really bad. If someone over the decades would have just cleaned it and polished it once in a while, it'd look pretty good today, but if they just let it go. They probably didn't know this technique. The other thing I'm doing is I'm changing the way this pad is hitting it. So this way is cutting this way. When I go up this way, it's cutting this way. So I'm cutting in two different directions. me just use a little bit more. I'm going to go run around the edges here. And I'm pushing hard. Okay, so then what I like to do is called finger painting. So I finger paint the product. I want to get this edge here where I need it. I never waste any product. Even this product gets used. Okay. And also, since I'm doing this, let me teach you a technique called buffing off an edge. So if you notice, the way I'm running this orbital, this pad's spinning this way, it's coming off the edge. See that? Now if I turn it this way, now the pad's come this way, it's buffing into the edge. So learn how to buff off an edge, and this is really important when you're buffing out car paint. You know, so you don't want to burn through an edge, but you always got to work the paint around an edge, so you got to get at least close to it. You just want to learn how to buff off an edge. Nope, aluminum's pretty stout. I will teach you another rotary technique though. You know, sometimes you can hold a polisher like this kind of loosey-goosey. I do this all the time on cars, but sometimes you want to bring this thing down and lock it into your chest. In my classes, I show people a technique. What I do is I have someone hold it out like this. Yeah, let me demonstrate this because it has impact. Okay. So in my classes, I teach students a lot of technique for rotary. Oh, walk over here, okay. Okay. This way? This way? Okay. Okay, so you hold this polisher, one hand here, one hand here. Hold it away from your body. Now don't let me move you around.
Yeah, right.
Okay, now bring it in tight. Now don't let me move you around. See? The further the tool is away from your body, the more leverage the tool has over you. The closer you hold your body, then you can kind of lock up your arms and chest muscles. You can control it. And then here's one more tip.
Then you kind of use your legs to move around.
Yeah, instead of moving the polisher, watch, I just move my legs. So I got really good control over the polisher. It's not going to get away from me. And that's how you use a rotary. What's that?
So that'd be less fatiguing for you.
Oh, yes, definitely overall. This looks pretty good. You know, some of the pitting, come over here and look at the pitting. So this is what I meant by corrosion.
Yeah, the darker.
See the corrosion there? All these little dots. This is where, because if somebody would have just taken care of this, that wouldn't happen. And notice it's further in where it's harder to reach versus out here where it gets touched by stepping on it. So even stepping on it can kind of keep it clean. Let me hit this and we'll take a look. I just don't want to disappoint the pickiest of people. But like I said, you know,
It would probably be better too if the boat actually fit on the trailer.
well, I could have brought a boat in that had really light oxidation on the trailer, on the fenders, but this is a teaching moment. You know, sometimes you can't fix everything, and if you're doing this for money, you got to be smart enough to educate your customer and say, look, Bob, I can't fix everything. You should have taken care of this back in 1991, a year after you bought it. And then that's Bob's chance to feel stupid. Okay. Dead battery.
And you're done.
Look how long that battery lasted compared to how hard I was pushing. Man, I was pushing hard. I like to make my flicks whine a little bit. Okay, wipe this off. Okay, so then after you polish it, and I'll let you come in here and take a look at this, then Dr. Beasley's does make a product to seal metal surfaces called Metal Coat. And I'm going to show you 2 ways to apply that. Okay, so get the before first. There's the ugly.
All right, go ahead and pull the tape.
I really wrapped it around there hard. Okay. There. There's before and after.
Yeah, definitely improvement. Definitely improvement.
Yeah, I got the residue over here just a little bit. That skews the look. There we go. Now we have uniform ugly. Okay, so then Metal Coat. Now, the way you apply this is normally with just a clean applicator. You can use foam, you can use microfiber. You put a little bit on here, a little bit goes a long ways. You just come down and just massage this in.
So like you're applying wax in your car?
Kind of like putting a wax in your car, only this is more of a coating. But I want to show you another way because you know me, I'm kind of a machine guy. If I can do something by machine, I always think it does a better job faster. And you can see I've already machine coated the other fender with this pad. So I'm just going to put on a couple little drops here. I'm going to let the machine do all of the work. I'm pushing hard because I want that foam to get in around all these diamond plate edges and kind of dig some of that polish compound out of there. So when I wipe this off, the whole thing just has a nice uniform shine to it.
Do you have on the polishing, finishing?
That's actually, it's a light cutting pad. And I chose that one. Yeah. Something stout, yeah. And look what a toll it takes on your pads. So this pad will never be used for anything but metal polishing.
I want to use that in your car.
Yeah, okay. Now this towel's getting kind of used. I call these scrap rags or scrap towels. Let's see if we can.
So this is when you go out to the hotels and you bring them back?
Or go to Target or Walmart and buy something cheap. Just you want terry cloth. Look at that shine come back. And for this 33-year-old fender, that is respectable.
All right, now tell me a little bit more about the metal coat. How long does it last? The technology in there?
The metal coat is it's designed for stainless steel, chrome, and aluminum. And how long it lasts is kind of depends on how you treat the surface. You know, probably up to a year. But keep in mind, if this boat was being used all the time and people are stepping on this, that's microabrasion. So it just depends on how it's being touched. And that's something I always say about car waxes or coatings. People say, how long does this last? The technically correct answer is it depends on how the surface is touched after you've applied whatever the product is. Because this kind of goes back to if you're using contaminated towels, they're scratching the paint. That means they're scratching whatever you put on, whether that's a carnauba wax, a ceramic coating, or in the case of a vinyl dressing on a vinyl tonneau top, how do you touch it? So I always teach people to wash everything carefully and always inspect your wash mitts, your drying towels, and your wiping towels. And I actually have tweezers over there by the dryer. And when I inspect my towels, you can pull one up. You see a pink one in there. My wife bought that one for me. I know it sounds silly, but it's so important to keep everything clean. And that's why you want to choose things that don't get contaminated easily in the first place, but then keep them clean. But anyway, that's how you restore. If you've never done that before, you know, like I said, I've been teaching bona fide boat classes since 2012, could be 2011. And if you got a class of like 10 people and you show this, like 5 people know how to do it and 5 people go, oh, I've never saw that. But now that I've seen it, it all makes sense. Wool pad on rotary, polish, push hard, cut away oxidation, corrosion, restore the shine, make it look good. So.
All right. You ready for?
I'm ready for anything. I think we covered a lot of tips on how to use a rotary in there, but we also showed a new use for the Dr. Beasley's NSP 150. Besides, we actually cut the gel coat with this with NSP 150. For this boat, here's what we did. We machine sanded with 2,000, followed by 3,000, followed by 4,000. That's machine wet sanding using gear-driven flex polisher, so there's no stalling of the pad while you're standing. Just like it's important for that, just like it's important for no stalling when you're polishing paint. And it's the fastest way to sand down an old neglected boat like this. And then we compounded with wool pads with NSP 150. Then we came back with the Beast, the gear-driven 8mm orbital polisher with NSP 95. And then we sealed it with the Dr. Beasley's Boat Coat Pro. This boat, after we clean up these tires on both sides, this thing's ready to be dunked back in the water. Oh yeah, you can actually see the slurry from the wet sanding on the concrete there. So, yeah, boat detailing is hard, dirty work. But here's one of the things I do, Yancy, and anybody out there listening, is I could bring in a boat that was 20 years newer. I don't, though. If I brought in a brand new boat, basically all I could show you how to do is use a spray wax. It doesn't need anything. So I search out and find large or huge center consoles in horrible condition, and then I can teach you the most techniques. Now, when you leave the class, it's up to you to look at the boat and gauge just how far you need to go. Maybe you don't need to sand, but that's why I bring in boats like that, is so I can teach the most techniques. So you're equipped when you return back to your world to tackle anything.
All right, you ready to handle
Sure.
questions? All right, the voice from the nether is here. Grant, I love you, Grant. The three amigos, Mike Phillips, Yancy, and Dr. B. You're gonna be on that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's go to my guy Kirby. Hey, Kirby.
Hey, Kirby.
Would using paint prep help clean those race sections of the down coat? Use a metal coat?
No, it would help. I think one of the things, if you watched what I did, is I took a terry cloth towel, so not limp microfiber, but something very stout. It was actually clean, and if you watch me, I pushed hard. So with aluminum, there's not really a whole lot of places except for the edges for it to hide, and then by the time I massaged that product in by hand and machine, you know, it did a good job of laying the product down. But you could. I probably wouldn't. I'd do it just like I did it.
Okay, I got another one coming. Oh, there she is. All right, Sarah, coming on here. What about pillars that are black metal, just polished as you would any other metal?
Well, black metals usually means it's anodized, and you can't really polish anodized aluminum. Most people, not saying you, Sarah, but a lot of people don't understand anodizing. Anodizing isn't a coating on the aluminum, it's a coating in the aluminum. And I have had good luck polishing some anodized trim, but usually when it becomes, if you look at a lot of cars that have anodized trim around the windows, they're either black, like BMWs, Mercedes have that black anodized window trim, Volkswagen, Honda have the aluminum. And over time, exposure to the sun and the rain, it becomes, sometimes you see a rainbow effect in the black stuff, and in the silver stuff, it just looks cloudy, like water spotted. And rarely can you fix that. And that's really a shame on the car manufacturer's part. They should make the cars out of things that the average person can work on.
Well, hey,
Yeah.
they can sell more parts that way. But really quick,
Okay.
before I move to the next one, do you know how they anodize? Isn't it with electrolysis?
You know, one time I went through a place in Oregon that showed me the complete anodizing process. It's a series, I think, of acid baths, and the part that you anodize, now this is at least 20 years ago, but back then the part that you anodize actually loses a little bit of the material itself. I was actually getting leg parts anodized, and I wanted to have a colorful, beautiful gold and multicolor anodized leg. And when I got it back, I noticed a lot of the fittings were loose. And they says, yeah, that eats a little, but I think technology's come a long ways. But you know, if you go up to a Skynet, you can find out all the information you want to about anodizing.
been here, a couple weeks already waiting for you, man.
Yeah, we did hologram removal. We did orange peel removal. We did glass polishing. The glass polishing live broadcast, by the way, a lot of people didn't see is I just did a little section. One of my friends counted. I made 100 section passes, and you could see I was making progress. I didn't want to bore everybody to death, but after that video is over, me and Angel, the owner of that truck, we attacked that windshield for 2 hours and got 90% of the scratches out. It looked good, and there's a video that shows you that in pictures up on the Dr. Beasley blog. A windshield that would need a repair. This is the real deal stuff. This isn't no mock-up.
Okay, Rick Smith back again. Do the same basic techniques for both apply to automotive?
Well, if you've got something automotive as bad as this fender, you've got a problem. Yeah, sure. I've years ago I had an article on slotted mags where I sanded them down and buffed them out because they were so corroded. So yeah, you can do the same thing. But the thing about that is you wouldn't want to finish with wool on rotary. Because you want it to look good. If you were to look at this, you would see fine swirls from the fibers. But this is not a show car. It's a boat that has obviously been neglected for 30 years. It's probably not going to get any good taken care of moving forward, so it's really not an issue. But on aluminum, for something like some slotted mag wheels or some Chip Foose custom-made wheels, you'd want to, hopefully Chip Foose wheels never get this bad, but you'd want to work yourself up to a finer and finer cloth, actually. And one of the secrets, my friend...
Very good. All right, we're back. Sorry. Gotta love life.
Well, that was weird. It's never happened here before, lose the internet.
No, it happens every once in a while. But we're back. So, all right, Victor's over there laughing at us, saying, oh, I'm glad it's you. Okay, hold on. I saw a bunch of comments come up. Hold on.
You just roll with the punches, man.
Roll with the punches. That's what makes it fun.
Clean your pad often.
All right. I saw some of you guys coming in here. Squawking 7,000 lost comms. All right. Okay, we're going to do this one right here from Brian. Could you use an aluminum cleaner from West Marine or Starbright first, then do the polishing, or
yeah, no,
you could also use the rest of the trailer?
Yeah, you could. There's things out there that dissolve what's called white rust. It's oxidation. You definitely could. So here's the deal. When I'm teaching a boat class, if I have those products available, but a lot of times since I'm a Dr. Beasley's guy, I'm using what I have in the garage. And I just showed you how to use what you have, A lot of times people hold up something shiny. Hey, look over here at this. Well, I got to look at what I got in front of me, and that's what I used, and I got the job done. So that's another thing I teach in my classes. I teach people how to get the job done, instead of waiting for the next best thing to come along. Get it done. But yeah, you could use something like that. I know Phillips makes a product that removes white rust. I've used it before. Works good. It just dissolves it. Doesn't stain the aluminum. Makes it faster and easier. But I think you saw, I made Wool Pad do all that. Mr. Wool Pad.
Oh, what's funny is you just lifted that up. Kirby just came in here. Okay, the real question is how often to clean the black wool now?
Oh, clean it often. I did it on here, in TV world and video world, you're trying to not bore people to death. But Kirby, you've seen me use Wool Pad. I clean it often. I clean it after every panel I buff.
Now, if you're going to actually clean the pad, not on the fly, but actually clean it. Are you using like an APC?
No, I'm not cleaning it at all.
What are you using to clean that?
Nothing. I'd never clean it. I'd use it till it's absolutely gone and dead.
So you just use it, whatever, just keep on using the spray?
Yeah, this costs $10 at a local hardware store. It's not even worth washing. I'd spend more on my APC than I could buy another pad. You'll never get it clean. It's just, don't even waste your time.
All right, you sing, dance, do whatever you want. I'm going to go back through these comments real quick.
Well, I got to do the other half.
Well, you got to do that too. This is funny. Live broadcasts are so fun and real, especially when the internet goes out. And then we have Kyle coming back here. Must be one heck of a secret. See? Keep you guys in suspense. That's what we do here. That's what we do. You see. If you had the subscriber access, you would have seen everything that we did there, but you didn't subscribe.
So here's an aside. We don't think it was his fault, but my neighbor Estevan was rerunning the wires to his internet service to his shop. I walked over, there's wires everywhere. I walk over to the fire door where all the servers and the internet boxes are, and he's over there doing things with wire. So I just says, hey, did you disconnect anything? He says, no, So it is a coincidence. We've never lost internet here before, and then he's running wires, and now we lost internet. So it could be maybe he bumped something. I don't know.
Very well. All right, we're at 4:46. I'll give one more. I discovered Mike on the DIY podcast and became a big fan. Old school straight shooter.
Yeah, real world. I would call it real world practical. You know, we got a bunch of cool videos coming up. I'll be talking about things. Just some interesting stuff. You know, why we didn't paint our walls black. We kept them white. There's a reason. You know, always people looking at the shiny thing.
Yeah, well, that's what everybody always does.
Just keep it real, you know. Most people, what they need to do is focus on the project in front of them, not all this extraneous stuff.
Okay, I think that was everything that we're doing here. If you guys have any last minute questions, get them in, because I'm about ready to.
And next week,
what are we doing next week?
You know, I've got an interesting project, and it doesn't really lend itself to showing you guys everything. I got a classic 1967 Ferrari coming in that has an amateur paint restoration, and they've asked me to dull the paint down.
Dull it down?
Instead of make it shiny. So my plan right now is to machine sand it with either 3M Trizac 5000 or 8000. Just basically machine sand and make it matte looking, because they want a dull finish on it. I got a 63 Plymouth Valiant that I'm prepping for a car show. This is a full-on concours show, and I think it's swirled out. I also have a classic 1986 AMC Eagle.
Where are you getting all these old oddball cars?
People bring me just all kinds of stuff.
Hey Mike, I got this in the shop.
It's just like this. I take what I have. You know,
I know, I got you.
What comes my way. Like last week, I did a 2023 70th anniversary Corvette. So it's not all this old stuff. It's new stuff, old stuff. It's just what comes my way.
No, I remember the old Eagle. The Eagle Talon was the sportier one.
Yeah,
those were fun.
This is the AMC Eagle four-wheel drive car. But also, just to let you know, there is a 3-day class coming here. The first day is all paint correction and ceramic coatings. I bring in the coolest cars to train on. The second day is machine dry sanding. I'm bringing in a 1965 Ford Galaxy custom paint, orange peel, and the third day, extreme boat detailing, a 23-foot Sea Hunt. It originally was dark blue, it's turned white with oxidation. So there's no chairs, there's no sitting, there's no PowerPoint. From the time we start, it's hands-on all the way through.
Be ready to work, people, because he will put you through the paces. And, well, he's being lighter. I think it's because he's getting older that he's starting his classes a little bit later. It used to be, him and I would be down there at the shop, like 5:30, 6 o'clock, getting everything up, and 7 o'clock we started. And now you start when?
The last one we started at 9. This last week
he's being nice to you guys.
We started this last one here at 8:30. But I like to start early because I cover a lot of tools and topics and techniques, and we need to get in and get going, you know?
I hear you.
And there are no breaks. There's lunch break, but I mean, if you need a break, take a break. But I'm not going to go, oh, look, it's 10 o'clock. Let's all stop learning. You know, I'm just not going to do it.
Time out.
So I figure I got you here for 3 days. I'm going to do a brain dump.
And he does. Believe me. Take your notes. Where to go, record, do whatever you got to do. Now, here is my pitch to you guys. Mike and we are going to be doing some series of shorter content videos, 5 to 10 minutes. And what would you like this guy to cover in one of those? Do you have any dire topics that you think that really need to be answered, or you just like to know how to do something properly? These aren't going to be live. These are going to be filmed, lights, all the pizzazz and everything that I do. But those are we're going to start recording those this month. So if you do have any suggestions on what you would like to do, like always, I like to listen to the viewers instead of like, hey, I want to show this. Well, you may not want to see me filming Mike type up an article. And I don't want to do that either. No. But I'd rather take your guys' suggestions. So if you have it, put it in the comments below. Send him a message on Facebook or Instagram. Send Dr. Beasley's a Facebook or Instagram message.
Text it to me, 760-515-0444. But you know what I got coming in that's kind of cool that a lot of people ask about? It's a 68 Camaro, base coat, it's a street rod, and I think it has 5 or 6 bird dropping etchings in the hood, like little round where the paint's blistered up, and it's driving the owner crazy. And he says, look, fix it, whatever you got to do. If you can't fix it, I'm going to repaint the hood. So I'm going to be machine dry sanding each one of those spots.
See, then you have like the security thing, so if you accidentally go through the clear, well, you had to repaint it anyway.
Yeah, I was going to repaint it anyways.
Okay, so
my confidence is high I can fix it. So.
All right, there you go. So just like that, we are done. Like always, remember Mike's little hat trick.
Yeah. Keep the high bay lights out of your eyes.
Yeah, and you know it's like you got that pulled down. I look over it's like that. But with that being said, we're sorry for the internet. That was not our doing.
It's not our fault.
So, but I will be back next week, next Wednesday, same time, same bat channel.
Yep.
And stay tuned to the socials. They'll be posting up. Like always, like, share, and subscribe. And be sure to hit the notification bell.
Yes.
So with that, you need to finish the other half.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
I'm going to go over here and do nothing. Thank you all.